Hello, David.
Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you too. How you doing?
Doing great. This is fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I
So,
wish you were here. I don't. It's like it's kind of. I feel like I'm a little bit in an '80s science fiction movie, but that's all right.
yeah, it could be worse. I mean, there's always like room for like things getting worse. So,
Yeah. Well, and hell, at least the theaters are open and people are going to the movies, and that's what I'm excited about.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I went to the screening that you have at the Beyond Fest, and I noticed. I mean, how excited the people are. Uh, how do you feel with that? How do you feel with that? Because of course, Jamie Lee Curtis was there, but people were very happy to see you too. How does it feel to be like a kind of I wouldn't say new horror. I mean, you've been doing like indie movies for a while, but having this reputation in the horror community, how does it feel? It's like it's cool, or it's like it also comes with a lot of responsibilities, right?
Yeah. Well, I've always been a horror fan, so I'm a part of that community in other ways, and then now as a filmmaker, it's always exciting in the very few times in my career that I've actually made movies that can interest an entire crowd. Sometimes I've made very specialty movies that have a few fans or have find a following over time. But these are movies that there is a responsibility, that there is a very excited interest in. And so I look at my job very much as the caretaker of the property. I want to do the fans justice. I want to invite new fans to the title of Halloween, to see what Michael Myers and Laurie Strode are up to. So those are all very important to me, to preserve the beauty of the legacy that Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter and Deborah Hill created.
And now you're gonna do the same with The Exorcist. So you're pretty confident. I mean, it's just I mean, was it like that before, or you start like saying, okay, I can do this, I can do like all these movies because people were reacting so well to them. I mean, reacting so well to the first one. I mean, to the first like reboot.
Yeah, there's always a degree of uncertainty and anxiety, and I know my heart and intentions are in the right place, and I've got a hell of a good team of artists and technicians, and the support of people that are feeding the creative on these properties is really important to me. So making sure everybody's there for the right reasons, and we're there to challenge each other and take a ride, and again reintroduce a world into these classic horror films. That's important to me. To do it justice, that's important to me, and to have a lot of fun working with these crews and these casts. It's inspiring.
And it's interesting because you're not only the director, but you're a writer too. I mean, you wrote these movies with like Danny McBride. Now Scott Teams was part of the process too, and then you have to make, of course, plenty of decisions. And one of them, in this case, is you still have, of course, Jamie Lee Curtis playing Laurie, but then you have more. I mean, there's a lot of characters in here, very colorful characters, and there's like I don't know. It feels like we're looking for a collective feeling, this community thing, this community scare, and then they start to do like bad things, because they're scared.
Definitely wanted to expand it. So, there's only so much you can do with Laurie Strode versus the Boogeyman in its domestic simplicity. And I think it worked amazingly well in John Carpenter's 1978 film. We fed off it and expanded it slightly in our 2018 film. And here was a opportunity to expand the definition of fear, and rather than being so intimate and domestic based, here's how fear permeates a community, and how communication and miscommunication, the legend of the Boogeyman, the fear of and anxiety of Michael Myers' return, how it affects different people in different ways. And so it is a study of fear, of how people respond to what they're afraid of, and some run and hide, and some are ready to attack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And let's talk about the killings. The killings are like pretty intense. I would like to talk about like how, I mean, when you guys wrote those scenes, were you like discussing it? I mean, yeah, let's do this, let's having a lot of fun. And then when you shoot them, because it doesn't seem that they have a lot of CGI, they look very like kind of old school. So can you talk about like I mean, how do you roll them, and then what were the challenges of shooting them? Because they're great, as I say.
Yeah, so when we structure out the film, we have an outline of the movie, and every now and then we'll have the kill in mind of how that's going to unfold. But usually, we know that a character is going to die in some way, in some capacity here, and then once we've fleshed it out before we really write it, we bring in other people to discuss that. We bring in our Chris Nelson, our makeup and effects artist. We bring in our production designer Richard Wright and our cinematographer Michael Simmons. It's important to have all these voices because not only is it fun to engineer a creative, a new and inventive way that Michael can kill, and sometimes the after effects of his art projects he likes to do with the bodies, but it's also taking all of our awareness as film goers so that someone could say, well, we can't do that because this other movie did that, and you can't do this because that's a little too similar, or we should do this. It is a nice homage to some film. There was a moment where I was like, I just want to have someone get stabbed in the armpit. Where can we put it? So it's always a creative, collaborative conversation, and sometimes it can get pretty entertaining and intense.
And you didn't want to use a lot of CGI, right? I suppose there's some CGI, but it doesn't.
I don't think in any of the kills there is. No, the only thing that there is a kill with a fluorescent light bulb that required a little cleanup, but it was all everything's done practically. And again, the makeup and effects team is just spectacular that we're working with here.
So how difficult was to keep the balance between like what the fans want to see? I mean, and there's a lot of that in the movie too, and then adding new stuff, as you say. I mean, not focusing necessarily only in Laurie, and then of course the humor, because when you use humor, you done like a few comedies that were like hilarious, but you didn't want to do something like extremely like, going that way.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun on this particular project, writing with Danny McBride and Scott Teems. It is a lot of fun, and we come up with a lot of stuff, and we make each other laugh, and then we put it together with a cast that has that humanity, and we want tension breaker, and in a subtle way, we want comic relief every now and then, just to be able to take a deep breath before the next kill sequence comes in, or the next tension, because I do feel like it helps. As a fan, it helps the roller coaster of this movie unfold.
So what is next for you? Because you have plenty. Well, there's a third movie. There's a third Halloween. Halloween Ends, right? And then you have The Exorcist. You're gonna. Which one is next?
Right. Well, Halloween Ends will come out at this time next year, ideally, assuming everything goes well. We'll go into production, and that film will be completed for Halloween 2022. And then the following 2023, Exorcist will be out.
All right. So you're really into horror right now.
I'm really into horror, and it's fun to be immersed in a genre, in a world, in a community of fans, and I'm having a great time being on the journey.
Thank you, David, for your time, and good luck.
All right, good talking to you.